Hey everybody, Thor Ragnarok is finally in theaters and we're going to give you every Easter egg that we found in the film. And just to establish some ground rules, we're not going to include any storylines lifted straight from the comics. So for instance, Planet Hulk is not an Easter egg because the entire middle act of the movie is a direct adaptation. Korg being in the movie is not an Easter egg because he's just a character in the movie. Alright, let's get started. This one's been obvious since the trailer. Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin contains the lines, "The hammer of the gods will drive our ships to new lands and fight the horde, Valhalla, I'm coming." This predicts the entire ending of the movie, when Thor leads a group of Asgardian refugees out into space to find a new home. During the play in Asgard, Loki apologizes to Thor for turning him into a frog. This is something he actually did in the comic books. The cast of the play includes Luke Hemsworth, brother of Chris, Matt Damon, and Sam Neill. This is a reunion between director Taika Waititi and Sam Neill after Hunt for the Wilder People, and this is the first film that Jeff Goldblum and Sam Neill have been in together since Jurassic Park. When Thor is on Earth, his hammer is disguised as an umbrella. To turn it back into a hammer, he taps it twice on the ground. This is a reference to the early days of the comic book, when his alter ego was Dr. Don Blake, and to turn his cane into a hammer, he had to tap it twice on the ground. There's also a cool bit of foreshadowing with the shirts that Bruce Banner and Thor wear early in the movie. Thor's wearing green and purple, foreshadowing that he's going to fight the Hulk later on, and Bruce Banner wears a Duran Duran shirt. It's actually the cover of the album Rio. That's important because one of their biggest hits was the song Hungry Like a Wolf, and of course later in the movie, the Hulk fights a giant wolf. You can see that Doctor Strange is actually wearing the Eye of Agamotto now. This is important because at the end of his own film, he puts it back into the vault because he's not ready to wear it yet. So I guess in the interim between Doctor Strange and now, he's gotten much better at the mystical arts. Odin used to reside in the Shady Acres retirement home. This is actually a pretty common name for fictional retirement homes. It appears in Ace Ventura, South Park, Happy Gilmore, and Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Valkyrie is also known as Scrapper number 142, and this is a reference to her first appearance in the Incredible Hulk number 142. When Thor is in the tunnel, the song Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka plays in the background. Just like in Willy Wonka, the trip to the tunnel starts off pleasant and then becomes horrifying. At one point, Loki mentions that Thor is adopted, which is a reference to Thor saying that Loki is adopted in the first Avengers film. Korg, my favorite character in the movie, is trying to offer Thor a three-pronged spear. He says it could kill vampires, but only if 3 of them were grouped very closely together. This is a reference to Taika Waititi's film, What We Do in the Shadows. There's a giant tower on Sakaar that's a tribute to all of the champions from the Grandmaster's games. The Hulk is at the top, but you can also see the Man-Thing, Beta Ray Bill, Bi-Beast, and Ares. The Grandmaster calls the Hulk astonishingly savage. This is a reference to the comic book Tales to Astonish, where the Hulk appeared frequently. So when Thor is fighting Hulk in the arena, he tries to calm him down by saying the sun is getting low like Black Widow did in Age of Ultron. And of course, when the Hulk picks up Thor and bashes him around, it's a direct reference to Loki getting knocked around at the end of the Avengers. At one point, Hela's in Odin's vault and she sees the Infinity Gauntlet and says, it's fake. And this is actually Marvel having some fun with the fans. In the first Thor movie, the gauntlet can be seen in the background in Odin's vault. This led to a lot of speculation among fans. Is this the Infinity Gauntlet, or is the gauntlet in the mid-credit scene of Age of Ultron the real gauntlet? Now we know. The gauntlet in Asgard is not the real one. The Grandmaster's games are called the Contest of Champions, a reference to the comic book of the same name. At one point, the Grandmaster liquefies a servant named Carlo. This is probably a reference to Planet Hulk artist Carlo Pagulayan. There's references to the great Marvel artist Jack Kirby all over this movie. In fact, the whole film looks like it was production designed by Kirby. Valkyrie mentions planet Xandar as a possible way home to Asgard. This is the planet from Guardians of the Galaxy where the Power Stone currently resides. There's an ongoing joke about Valkyrie and Bruce Banner sort of recognizing each other. And this could be because she knows the Hulk and the Hulk knows her, but it could also be because in the comic books they were teammates in the Defenders. The ships in the movie are given names like Commodore, Statesman, and Kingswood. These are all cars made by the Australian car manufacturer Holden. When Thor jumps onto the Quinjet, he strikes the exact same pose that he does in the first Avengers film when he lands on the Quinjet. His password to gain entry to the Quinjet's computer is Point Break, a nickname that Tony Stark gave him in the first Avengers film. Loki stops to look at the Tesseract, a reference to his involvement with that Infinity Stone in the first Avengers film. A little bit of a prediction here. I think that he took the Tesseract with him and he's going to give it to Thanos in the next Avengers film. And in one of the funniest scenes in the movie, Bruce Banner jumps from a plane but fails to turn into the Hulk. And this is a reference to the many times Bruce Banner has fallen off something and turned into the Hulk. Scourge dies the way that he did in Thor number 362, wielding 2 machine guns. Thor's new electrical powers were foreshadowed in his vision scene in the Avengers Age of Ultron. And finally, this was kind of a bonus because it was cut from the movie. In the background in the trailer, you can see graffiti in an alley that says Skuck's Life. This is a reference to Taika Waititi's film, Hunt for the Wilder People. Well, that's all the references that we found. Tell us which ones we missed in the comments below. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.